Nadine Dorries' interview with James Schneider, I think, was extraordinary. She was talking about Hamas and Gaza and Israel and the two-state solution. And she said that any form of ceasefire would be an invitation to a Holocaust. It's extraordinarily inept language. I think the only way forward is exactly what Schneider says, which is to sue for peace, which is to negotiate a peace treaty. Now that is not going to happen immediately now because of Netanyahu's approach and the threats of a further occupation of Gaza once this war is finished. How do you know when it's going to be finished? But it is the only option. Talking about Holocaust is using emotive language and the sort of language that almost every Jewish person in our country and the world is horrified by, because everybody has a memory and a relative who is associated with the Holocaust. And yes, the October the 7th terrorist atrocity was utterly appalling. And the thought that, and Hamas's stated aim to repeat that, is something that must be taken seriously. However, at the same time, Netanyahu's heavy-handed approach and his threat to remain in control of Gaza after the war is equally worrying. And a pause after the October the 7th massacre should have allowed other countries to come in and help. And I think other countries were ready to do so. Not only Western countries, but countries in the Arab world. And Netanyahu's knee-jerk response was to go it alone and to defy world opinion. This is wrong. And equally, the simplistic approaches of from the river to the sea, the sloganising, the marches, are, I think, they provide solidarity for people, and they focus an outpouring of support for Palestine, which must be good. But I don't think they are hugely efficacious, because Israel will ignore these marches. And if Israel can ignore the advice of senior leaders around the world, then Israel can certainly ignore marches across London. The marches are for us, not for them. And what we need to do is to influence Netanyahu to modify his approach. A ceasefire is not on the table, because it's got connotations of a technical surrender. A pause is on the table, and that needs to be encouraged. The more Netanyahu hears ceasefire, the more defiant he will become. The more he hears options to withdraw or pause, the more he's going to embrace that. I'm sure he's looking for every opportunity to get out of this situation which he caused. He caused it because he hadn't properly fortified and protected the kibbutzim in the Negev. That was his fault. He knows it. He's fighting for his political survival as much as for the future of Israel, but he is endangering Israel in his desperation for self-preservation. And that is the essential problem. There are many things one could say about Hamas. And the more one hears from sort of thoughtful presenters on television, and the less one hears from the sort of Jeremy Kyle barrage of Nadine Dorries' opinion. And if you watch that program, not only does she take up so much time herself with her own views, she doesn't allow any time for James Schneider to actually put forward his analysis and his proposals. We've got to cut for an advert. Well, you know, adverts don't matter much when you're not really earning very much money from them anyway, and talk TV. Adverts could be delayed, and it's the use of this incendiary language and the various allegations, and it doesn't help. None of this helps. What helps is a picking up the opportunities. Now, the Hamas people put out so many different proposals, so the chances are very few of them are real. But some of them may be, and some of them must be taken seriously. And the same thing with Israel. And the hints of peace are there. It's just a matter of picking them up and using them.